These ancient tracks, preserved against the odds, connect us to a distant past.
Think you know Saudi Arabia? Trust me, you don't, because it's not just sand and stones, and I'm as surprised as you.
So Finding Bone here tells us that we're really close to a burial.
From ancient tombs to floating mosques, this place is full of surprises. So what are you waiting for? Let's get started. Number 20. The desert's deadly secret. Walking in the footsteps of someone who lived around 120 lakh years ago is no less than an adventure, I guess, right? And if you also love such adventures, you gotta go visit Saudi. Yep, out of all the places in the world, it is indeed Saudi Arabia where these huge, mysterious footprints have been discovered. And no, it's not a scene from the latest global blockbuster. It's a very real discovery in the Nafud Desert of Saudi Arabia.
Fossilized human footprints estimated to be 105,000 years old.
Ancient human footprints that too, perfectly preserved in the desert's barren conditions, were recently discovered, and they've blown scientists away. And these weren't just any footprints either. They were the work of early humans who had probably wandered through these lands looking for food and shelter. I think these people may have been some of the first humans to migrate out of Africa. And the best part is that they didn't just leave footprints. They left behind a mystery for all of us modern-day humans. I mean, how did they survive in such harsh conditions? What did they eat? And why did they choose to live in such a harsh area? So, this discovery has opened the door to countless new questions. And as scientists continue to investigate, I can't help but wonder what other long-buried secrets the desert is hiding.
Footprints dating back 120,000 years found in Saudi Arabia. Around 120,000 years ago in what is now northern Saudi Arabia.
Number 19. The Lost Treasure. Hold up. If you haven't guessed it already, let me repeat it for you all. Saudi Arabia's desert isn't just full of sand. Just recently, archaeologists have discovered an ancient city that seems to have been lost to time under those same sand dunes. And let me tell you that this wasn't a small, ordinary village. No, this was a sophisticated trading hub in the Al Ula region. It had massive walls, neatly paved roads, and residential areas.
On the ground, it's actually quite difficult to see what you're looking at. And so you have to think, who are these structures supposed to be viewed by? Is it for the deceased person who's looking down from the afterlife, or is it perhaps from the god?
Researchers believe this city dates back to the Nabatean period, and it was a hustling, bustling center of commerce. What makes this discovery even more jaw-dropping is that it's so well preserved. I mean, most ancient cities you'd expect to find buried under centuries of sand would be reduced to rubble, but this one is nearly intact. You can think of it as an Indiana Jones dream come true, except that this time there are no traps. Jokes apart, it looks like the people of this ancient city were involved in trade routes linking Saudi Arabia to other ancient civilizations. They were also highly skilled in construction, architecture, and agriculture, because the level of craftsmanship in the buildings and artifacts is remarkable. So, move over, Petra. Al Ula's here to steal the spotlight.
This is Al Ula, a unique region of Saudi Arabia. These fantastic landscapes, similar to Utah and Arizona, have been seen by few. And interestingly, they're quite different from the rest of Saudi Arabia.
Number 18. The Marine Graveyard. What if I tell you that Saudi Arabia was once home to marine life? Can you believe it? I mean, I'm already sold. In some recent discoveries, archaeologists have found these ancient underwater creatures in Saudi Arabia that could have easily been the props for a hit horror set. Trust me, it's no less than coming across a graveyard of sea creatures the size of modern-day whales, except that they've been extinct for millions of years.
This animal also had teeth more similar to terrestrial mammals, and the navel cavity in the front part of the cranium is more like a land mammal. A marine mammal would have it on the top of the head.
So, this terrifying discovery took place in the Tawaik Mountains. The paleontologists discovered fossils of sea creatures from the Cretaceous period. These include the remains of mosasaurs as well, which was a giant marine reptile. These creatures were the apex predators of the ocean, cruising through waters that once covered the area millions of years ago. And guess what? The size and condition of the fossils are unreal. Some of the mosasaur skulls were nearly the size of a small car. So, believe me when I say this, for anyone with a fear of sea monsters, Saudi Arabia might just be the place to stay away from, at least when it comes to underwater history.
This is what the paleontologists think the animal would have looked like. Now they've discovered what appears to be a rich seam of fossils.
Number 17. Art in the rocks. If you think only the ancient Egyptians had the market cornered on carved statues, think again, because Saudi Arabia, my friend, has its own version of rock art. Various kinds of designs and signs are embedded in the walls of the Jeddah region of the country. These aren't some tiny hieroglyphs. These are some of the most unique carvings engraved into massive rocks, and they stand out tall against the barren landscape of the desert. What makes this discovery so mysterious is the lack of context here. Who made it? Why is it there? And most importantly, why is this rock art so vivid? Experts believe it could be linked to ancient Arabian civilizations, or possibly even trade routes, but there's no definitive answer as of yet. The drawings that look like a mix of ancient Mesopotamian and Egyptian art styles hint at a cultural exchange that wasn't previously recognized in the region. So, I guess we're all just left staring at it and wondering who's watching us from the past.
Saudi Arabia possesses world-class rock art in its magnificent deserts, from 1,300-year-old Islamic writings to 2,000-year-old Nabati carvings, to inscriptions covering 10,000 years of history.
Number 16. The King's Tomb, pyramids, in Saudi Arabia? I must be kidding, right? But the thing is, I'm not. While most people associate these ancient wonders with Egypt, Saudi Arabia has also quietly been doorkeeping its own pyramid-shaped structures. These are not the same kind of pyramids as the ones found in Egypt. These are found in the northern parts of the country, but as I said, don't go around trying to look for Egyptian-style pyramids. These are smaller, made of stone, and have a unique and mysterious design that doesn't quite match anything we've seen before. These are commonly known as mustatil, and the shocking thing about these mustatils is their unexplained nature. We don't know if they are tomb, temples, or maybe just overzealous architectural experiments. Some archaeologists suspect that they could be tombs linked to ancient Arabian rulers, but some of them also say that they were used for religious ceremonies. Either way, no one has conclusively proven who built them or why. So, as if ancient Egyptian pyramids weren't cool enough, Saudi Arabia throws its hat in the ring, offering us some stone-based mystery that no one quite understands. Who's up for a pyramid hunt?
Within the desolate landscape of Saudi Arabia lie massive rectangular structures known as the mustatil. Dating back to the late Neolithic era, researchers believe they were once used for ritualistic purposes.
Number 15. The Lost City of Iram. Okay, before you start getting excited and thinking I'm about to reveal a desert version of Atlantis, let's just clear that up. The Lost City of Iram is not underwater, but it's definitely just as mysterious as the fabled city of Atlantis. It is located somewhere in the empty quarter of Saudi Arabia's vast desert. Iram is said to be a long-lost city, described in ancient texts and Islamic mythology as a thriving metropolis with unimaginable wealth and power. But hold on, because this city is legendary for a reason. According to ancient tales, Iram was destroyed by a powerful sandstorm sent by divine forces. It's not like all of it has been found, but some recent reports have suggested that archaeological teams might have finally located its remains. They've found massive stone ruins, pieces of ancient pottery, and strange artifacts that seem to align with the ancient descriptions of Iram. It's like a real-life treasure hunt in the world's largest sand trap. So, the next time you're in Saudi Arabia, see if you can stumble across the legendary lost city of Iram. Who knows what riches might be waiting under all that sand?
At the beginning of the 1990s, a most important archaeological discovery was made. That discovery was of an ancient Arab city. What rendered this archaeological find particularly interesting was the fact that this city was where the Ad, mentioned in the Quran, lived.
Number 14. the silent ghost town. There's nothing quite as scary as a ghost town, except maybe a ghost town that's been abandoned for reasons no one can explain. Welcome to Al-Hamra. It is a village in the middle of Saudi Arabia, and it looks like it has been frozen in time. Unlike many other towns that gradually fell to ruin, Al-Hamra was apparently left overnight, so its houses are still intact, with doors and windows that haven't been touched in decades, and its streets are completely empty. But the main point is that no one can really figure out why the inhabitants vanished. It could be a plague maybe, or a natural disaster, or maybe something even darker. There's no solid evidence to explain the sudden disappearance of the village's population. But what makes Al-Hamra even more disturbing is the fact that it's not a modern ghost town. These aren't buildings from the 19th century. We're talking about structures that could have been occupied within the last 100 years.
Deep in the Arabian desert, there is a little-known ghost town. Though abandoned for decades, it stands almost exactly as it did then, only with less people and more weathered by sandstorms.
Number 13. The desert's skyscrapers. When you think of skyscrapers, your mind probably races to glass and steel towers in New York or Dubai. But there's a natural rock formation that towers over the desert, like nature's very own skyscraper in Saudi Arabia's Tabuk region. The Jebel Fihrain is also known as the Rock of the Birds. It is a huge, towering rock formation that's so tall and imposing that it looks like it was carved by a forgotten giant civilization. What's incredible about Jebel Fihrain is its scale, though. It is about over 200 meters tall, and this rock structure has appeared out of nowhere in the middle of the desert. This formation gets its name from the thousands of birds that nest in its crevices. This adds a splash of life to the otherwise barren landscape. The thing here is that the contrast between the natural rock and the desolate desert around it makes Jebel Fihrain one of the most surreal landmarks in Saudi Arabia. So, if you're looking for something that makes the desert feel a bit more like an alien planet, this is the place to visit. Who knew nature could pull off a skyscraper herself? Number 12. Gigantic human bones. Wait, we're not going to talk about the bones of some massive prehistoric creatures here. We are going to talk about bones that were human, but not just any humans, giant human. In the southern region of Saudi Arabia, archaeologists have found massive skeletal remains that are way larger than the size of normal human anatomy. From what they look like, I guess these bones belong to individuals who are most likely 9 feet tall or even taller. Now please don't start thinking about some tall basketball players from ancient times, because these giants are from a period when humans weren't supposed to be this big. So, what's the deal? Maybe these people were just really tall for their time. Who knows? While science has yet to confirm anything about these giants, the discovery has definitely opened up a can of worms. Nobody knows if what we are talking about was a part of a forgotten tribe, or are we looking at one of history's greatest mysteries? The bones are in the ground, and the answers are still up in the air.
These were the people of Ad, where Prophet Hud was sent. They were very tall, big, and very powerful, such that they could put their arms around a tree trunk.
Number 11. The floating rocks. Hold on to your hats, because this rock isn't just any rock, it's floating, or so it appears. It's a mysterious rock found in the Al-Ahsa region of Saudi Arabia, near the village of Al-Tuwaithia. This stone has been amusing locals and visitors with its mystery. Because the rock is perched dangerously on a smaller base, it seems to go against gravity. It's as if someone just plopped it there and forgot to make sure it's grounded. This phenomenon has sparked numerous myths, as one would expect. Some people also believe that the rock holds mystical powers, but it doesn't, because as cool as the illusion is, it's still just a quirky piece of nature's artwork. So, next time you're in Al-Ahsa, don't forget to take a selfie with this mysterious rock.
Wanna see something strange? Look at this. So weird, huh? Look. It's just standing in 3 rocks. That's it.
Number 10. Al-Waba crater. There's a common perception that deserts are just endless stretches of sand, but Al-Waba crater is here to shatter that perception. It is located about 250 kilometers to the northeast of Taif, and it stands as one of Saudi Arabia's most amazing natural landmarks. This giant crater is approximately 2 kilometers wide and 250 meters deep. It was formed millions of years ago by a phreatic eruption, which is a type of volcanic explosion caused by the interaction of water with hot magma beneath the Earth's surface. The Waba crater's pristine white salt flats at the bottom are what truly set it apart from other craters worldwide. These salt deposits are composed of sodium phosphate crystal. This also gives the bottom of the crater a distinctive white sheen, especially when the sun hits just right. So, as you can imagine, the contrast between the surrounding desert's deep brown earth and the salt flats' brilliant white creates a fictional landscape. The whole thing looks more like an artist's dream than something found in nature. Number 9. The Lost Arabian Treasure. It's time for good news. Saudi Arabia's treasure hunters don't have to look far to find appealing rumors of lost wealth. Qaryat al-Faw was an important city long before the rise of Islam, and its ruins are scattered throughout the southwestern part of the country. Ancient records suggest that the city was so wealthy that it became a central trading point for goods across the Arabian Peninsula. But after its decline, many believe its riches were hidden, perhaps to protect it from invading forces. In recent discoveries, however, archaeologists have discovered various relics from the city, such as coins, pottery, and tools. But the ultimate prize is the treasure of gold that remains hidden. Some people believe that the treasure could still be hidden beneath the sand, while others think it was looted and taken long ago. Treasure hunters from around the world have flocked to Qaryat al-Faw in search of the lost wealth, with mixed results. And despite some promising discoveries, no one has ever discovered the legendary hoard. So, who knows? The gold might still be out there, just waiting to be found. I'd say if you're ever feeling lucky, you might want to join the search. Just make sure to bring a good map and a metal detector.
Al-Faw's history spans over 6,000 years and is home to nearly 12,000 archaeological remains.
Number 8. The Birthplace. If you want to know where Saudi Arabia's history began, look no further than Diriyah. It is located just a short drive away from Riyadh. And guess what? This place was the original downtown for the Al Saud family and was once the capital of the first Saudi state in the 18th century, like the original power headquarters, but with way more sand. Now, Diriyah's At-Tarif district is where all the action happened. There are mud brick fortresses, ancient mosques, and royal palaces. Basically, what you'd expect from a place where the kingdom was born. These buildings were constructed with local materials, making them perfectly suited for desert life. And if you don't know what this means, these buildings do not need an air conditioner. Amazing, no? Today, Diriyah is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's getting a makeover to ensure future generations can walk around and feel the original historic vibes. It's like a trip back in time, minus the dusty old furniture and endless paperwork.
We say Ad-Diriyah is the heart of our kingdom, and this is At-Tarif, the ruling center of the first Saudi state.
Number 7. Saudi Arabia's secret rock stars. So, you're telling me there's an ancient city full of rock tombs just chilling in Saudi Arabia? Yep, that's exactly what the tombs of Hegra are all about. They are located in the Al-Ula region, and these bad boys are the Nabateans' answer to Petra. And let's be real, who doesn't want to visit a place that's UNESCO listed? On top of that, it has over 100 tombs carved into giant sandstone cliffs. Talk about a rock star burial ground. And let me break it down to you that these tombs aren't just piles of old rocks. They're like ancient art museum. The front sides of these tombs are so detailed, they look like they were built yesterday. Okay, maybe not, but you get the vibe, with inscriptions, carvings, and some serious architectural finesse. The Nabateans were clearly ahead of their time. It's probably the world's first rock sculptors before it was cool. And what's even cooler about them is that they were using advanced water management techniques in the desert. So, yeah, these guys weren't just burying the dead, they were living their best life in the middle of a desert oasis. So, if you're into ancient history, cool rock formations, and tombs, Madain Saleh is where it's at. Bonus points if you get to walk through it in person and pretend you're Indiana Jones for a day. Now, let's have a look at some modern wonders as well. Number 6. The Line, Saudi Arabia's futuristic utopia. Ever heard about a city with no cars, no roads, and no traffic jams? Well, welcome to The Line. It's a bold new vision for the future of urban living. It is being developed right in the middle of Saudi Arabia's desert. This is not your typical city. The Line is a linear city that stretches across 170 kilometers and is designed to house 9 million people. Yes, you heard that right, a whopping 9 million.
Instead of communities sprawling outward from a central location, they would be built vertically and arranged, well, in a line, hence the name.
It's essentially one long skyscraper with everything you could ever need packed inside, and it's all designed to be walkable in just 20 minutes. Are these guys for real? The project is being led by the country's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, and it's part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan to reduce the nation's dependence on oil and turn it into a hub for innovation and sustainability. The concept is to create a city with no cars, no pollution, and no crowded streets. Instead, people will get around via high-speed trains or walkable pathways. What's even crazier is that the line will be built in the Neom region, and if it works, the line could completely revolutionize the way we think about urban development. Will it be the city of the future or just a fictional pipe dream? Only time will tell, but either way, it's one heck of a bold plan to reshape the world as we know it.
In January of 2021, Saudi Arabia announced plans for its own futuristic city called The Line.
Number 5. World's largest art installation. For most of us, Saudi Arabia isn't typically the first place that pops into our head when we think of art, but the King Abdulaziz Center for World Culture is on a mission to change that perception. It is also known as Ithra. It is situated in Dhahran, and this modern cultural center is not only a one-stop shop for the arts. In fact, it's a giant interactive playground for culture, knowledge, and innovation. And when we say giant, we mean it, because this place is one of the largest art installations in the world. Forget stuffy museums. Ithra is like the Disneyland of culture, but for art lovers. And on the inside, you'll find everything from a massive library filled with over 1 million books to a cinema that screens everything from the latest international films to the best of Saudi cinema. Oh, and let's not forget the interactive exhibits that bring Saudi history and culture to life through technology. The best part? It is designed by the renowned Norwegian architectural firm Snøhetta, which makes it one of its kind without a doubt.
The King Abdulaziz Center for the World Culture, also known as Ithra, was established in 2017, aiming to have an attractive cultural and entertainment place for the public.
Number 4. The Desert of Empty Quarter. This desert in Saudi Arabia is so vast, it's known as the Empty Quarter. It is also known as the Rub al-Khali. It holds the title of the world's largest continuous sand desert. It stretches over a jaw-dropping 1,000 kilometers across Saudi Arabia, Oman, the UAE, and Yemen, and it's so remote and expansive that it feels like the entire planet just fades away under endless waves of sand dunes. The massive size of this desert is staggering. I mean, it covers roughly the size of France. Unbelievable. But the thing is, the Empty Quarter may seem lifeless, but it's home to some of the rare desert wildlife like the Arabian oryx, desert foxes, and even the elusive sandcat. These animals have adapted to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The desert's extreme climate, with scorching heat during the day and freezing temperatures at night, has given rise to a whole ecosystem that's built for survival in the most extreme conditions. This place is also rich in natural resources, most notably oil. Beneath its seemingly lifeless surface, the desert holds some of the world's largest oil reserves, and while it may appear to be an inhospitable wilderness, people have lived in and around it for centuries, relying on the desert's precious resources for trade and survival. Number 3. Jeddah's Floating Mosque. Jeddah's Floating Mosque is officially known as the Al-Rama Mosque. It is one of Saudi Arabia's most iconic and breathtaking landmarks. It is perched on stilts over the Red Sea, so this mosque gives the impression that it's floating on water. When you visit the mosque at sunset, the sight of this pristine white mosque against the backdrop of the sea creates a serene and almost magical atmosphere. The mosque is an amazing piece of modern Islamic architecture. It retains traditional elements of Islamic design and includes arches, minarets, and domes. Its unique location and contemporary construction make it stand out in a city that blends both old and new. So the fact that it was built in 1985 is unbelievable. Leaving everything aside, even at that time, it was designed to withstand the forces of the sea, with reinforced structures to protect it from the ever-changing tide. And as if it wasn't pretty enough, its location on the Red Sea coastline also provides stunning panoramic views of the water. So the floating mosque is not just a place of worship, it has become a must-see attraction for tourists and a symbol of Jeddah's coastal beauty.
Today I'm going to show you one of the attractive symbols of Jeddah, the floating mosque.
Number 2, the Camel Market of Riyadh. If you ever find yourself in Riyadh and want a truly authentic and local experience, the Camel Market is where you need to go. It's not just a place to buy camels, it's a vibrant cultural hub that showcases the deep-rooted connection between Saudis and these incredible animals. Camels in Saudi Arabia are considered more than just a means of transportation. They're symbols of pride, status, and tradition, whether for racing, milk production, or even their meat. Camels hold an essential place in Saudi life. The camel market in Riyadh is like an old-school marketplace with a modern twist. The camels here come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, and the scene at the market is nothing short of a spectacle. But it's not just about buying camel, it's about experiencing a tradition that's been around for centuries. It's a place where you can see the deep cultural connection the Saudi people have with these desert animals.
I don't know about you guys, but these camels are really, really expensive. Let's see what he does. Will he bite?
Number 1, the Sunken Wheel. Something strange happened in 2017 when Saudi archaeologists and marine researchers made a fascinating discovery in the Red Sea. It was about a sunken wheel that was found during an excavation of an ancient shipwreck near Jeddah. It is one of the most intriguing marine discoveries in Saudi Arabia. Experts believe the wheel dates back to 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, and this offers a direct link to the marine trade routes that once connected Arabia to the Mediterranean and Africa. This discovery is part of a larger group of artifacts, including pottery, tools, and remains of ship structures. This makes it obvious that the Red Sea was a thriving trade hub long before modern shipping routes existed. While the exact origin of this wheel remains unclear, it is clear that the people who built and sailed these ships had an advanced knowledge of navigation and shipbuilding. So, next time you hear about a sunken treasure off Saudi Arabia's coast, know that there's a rich history drowned beneath those waves. And that's all for today. What do you think about Saudi Arabia and the things you found there? Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons and share this video with your friends. See you in the next one. Goodbye.